Life is a journey, a long trip from when we're born until we die. Along this trip, we go on many smaller trips that shape who we are. It's important to enjoy every part of the journey, not just rush to the end. Often, we miss the small happy moments because we're too busy thinking about the future. But really living means paying attention to these moments and learning from them. In this video, we talk about life as a journey. The Bible, especially in 2 Corinthians chapter 5-1, tells us that we should think about how we live, because one day we'll have to explain our actions. This idea makes us see life differently. It tells us to take our choices seriously and enjoy every bit of life. Every little thing we do adds up to tell our life story. This means that there will come a time when you stand before God, and it won't be about how you died, all the wealth you amassed like houses and businesses, or even how many children you had. Instead, it will be about the way you lived your life, the path you took to get there. All these material successes and goals are just destinations. They are the things you work so hard for, the reasons you study intensely, and why you put up with the challenges you face. It's not just these achievements, but how you navigate your journey that truly matters. Anyone can reach destinations with different routes and different means, and you must have heard people say, the ends justify the means, meaning it doesn't really matter how you get to your destination. The fact that you were able to reach it justifies anything you did to get there. Such messages are destructive to anyone who wants to know what it truly means to live life to the full as God ordained it to be, and wants to stand before Christ to hear those wonderful words. Well done, good and faithful servant. Your life's journey today is a blueprint drawn by God. You're not a mistake going somewhere to happen. You are a deliberate creation of a great God with a wonderful intention for you. He has filled up your life with so many things at different stages and phases to help you reach your destination perfectly. Allow me to draw a parallel with something you might find relatable. Imagine reading a captivating book. What's more fulfilling? Simply reaching the end of the book, or the entire journey through its chapters from beginning to end? It's not just reaching the last page that matters, but the joy and intrigue of the story as it unfolds. Think of your life in the same way as that book. Have you been so focused on reaching your destination that you keep missing the little treasures God dropped along the way in between? A man gets so intent on paying the bills that he loses time with his family, forgets what it means to be a father and a husband, and soon forgets he has a place called home. Soon he gets his dream, pays off his bills, but you know what? He realizes that he's been so far away that he's missed everything that's been going on in his family. Now he realizes that there's no point in striving to build a house when no one will be there to live in it. There will be no point chasing a trophy when you have no one to rejoice with you in the moment of celebration. But you see, these are the little flowers by the roadside on the way to your destination. They are the bits of happiness scattered along the way to cheer you up as you go to define the person you become at the end, and to remind you that God's with you, making the best out of you. You've got to enjoy the journey, beloved. Everyone's saying there's depression everywhere, and sadness, but so is happiness, too. Everybody's ignoring the flowers by the roadside, while wondering how they're going to get to their destination, only to get there in the end and say, it's lonely, not so satisfying, and how I wished I'd lived more, loved more, laughed more. The author in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 17-26 says, so I hated life, because the work that is done under the sun was grievous to me. All of it is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. I hated all the things I had toiled for under the sun, because I must leave them to the one who comes after me, and who knows whether that person will be wise or foolish. Yet they will have control over all the fruit of my toil into which have poured my effort and skill under the sun. This too is meaningless. So my heart began to despair over all my toilsome labor under the sun. For a person may labor with wisdom, knowledge, and skill, and then they must leave all they own to another who has not toiled for it. This too is meaningless and a great misfortune. What do people get for all the toil and anxious striving with which they labor under the sun? All their days their work is grief and pain. Even at night their minds do not rest. This too is meaningless. A person can do nothing better than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in their own toil. This too, I see, is from the hand of God. For without Him, who can eat or find enjoyment? To the person who pleases Him, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness. But to the sinner, He gives the task of gathering and storing up wealth to hand it over to the one who pleases God. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. The preacher expresses a deep sense of disillusionment with life. He laments that by all his hard work, everything feels futile and fleeting. Like chasing the wind, he despairs over the reality that after all his efforts, he must leave his accomplishments to someone else. Someone who may be wise or foolish, and yet will have full control over his hard-earned achievements. He reflects on the nature of human toil, and how, despite working with wisdom, knowledge, and skill, a person eventually passes on their possessions to someone who hasn't worked for them. He sees this as not just meaningless, but also deeply unfair. The passage questions the value of all the labor and anxious striving that occupies human life, as it often leads to grief, pain, and restless nights, amounting to nothing of lasting significance. However, in this contemplation, he also acknowledges a more profound realization: the simple joys of life, like eating, drinking, and finding pleasure in one's work, are gifts from God. These are the things that make life worthwhile. He recognizes that wisdom, knowledge, and joy are blessings given by God to those who please Him. In contrast, those who live in sin are burdened with the futile task of accumulating wealth, only to hand it over to someone else. Another example of life's fleeting and elusive nature. This wisdom, too, he deems as a chase after the wind, emphasizing the transient and often inscrutable nature of human existence. I mean, you could go through this whole book of Ecclesiastes from start to finish, and a major part of it is dedicated to encouraging you to live your life to the full. Now, don't get me wrong, our actions during this journey are important, and God will judge us accordingly. But also significantly, so are our inactions. This means that your destination and fulfillment greatly depend on both your actions and inactions. If things you pick up along the way, such as depression, fear, discouragement, and frustrations, affect your health and have the power to even cut your journey short, don't you think others, like happiness, faith, courage, laughter, good relationships, and so on, will make a better difference? I remind you again, your journey is not a mistake. It's a process. Maybe you're looking at yourself and comparing yourself with others around you and thinking, what am I doing with my life? I think God has forgotten me. Maybe I wasn't destined for anything great or good after all. If this is you, then it means you're looking in the wrong places for the right things. Have you ever sat down with friends to talk about old times? Do you notice how much you talk about the events leading up to each destination with so much excitement until you drop it at the end? This is because the end didn't make you who you are today. The journey, the process did. Did they miss the journey? Although they may be there to witness the destination, they really don't know who you are or what you've been through. What is the greatest reward for finishing something? Beyond all the accommodations and awards, the greatest reward you can give someone for doing well is the opportunity to do it again. Find happiness in the journey, in your journey. Don't be so focused on how God's driving the vehicle of your life than you are on the things He's taking you through. Whatever God takes you through to get to your destination has a role to play in your life. Find it and embrace it. Whomever God brings on board your life as He takes you to your destination has a purpose. Find that purpose and embrace it. Your happiness is found in it. When you start to understand and value these divine introductions, you truly begin to appreciate the journey. Embrace every moment and every encounter, trusting in their deeper purpose. Keep an open heart to the experiences God places in your path. Life's journey is peppered with moments that are designed to help you. Moments that may not always be easy, but are always meaningful. See each day not just as a step closer to your destination, but as an opportunity to live fully, to make a difference, and to enjoy the beauty of the present moment. Sometimes the places, things, or people along the way are going to be rough. You might cry, lose things, and get your fingers burned, but you know what? Nothing beautiful is ever going to come out of it if you throw them all away and detach yourself. The mountain is right there before you, and you must never take your eyes off the peak where you're headed. Yet each step is what will take you there. Each shoulder you'll climb, each hand you'll hold, each challenge you'll face will contribute to the sense of fulfillment at the end of the road. When you look back, the true gratitude for life and for living is born when you live in the moment. It's the beautiful things God has placed around you. Listen, no matter how hard you work, your pay will never be enough to settle your bills. Do what you know how to do, but learn to understand and accept the fact that God takes care of His children. That is His promise. Remember that life is all about the journey, not just where you're going. It's about the paths you take, the things you learn, and how you grow along the way. Really living means enjoying each day, not just waiting for the end goal. God is bringing people and experiences into your life for a reason. By enjoying these moments and putting your trust in God, you can live a happy and thankful life. So don't just focus on where you're headed. The real joy of life is in the journey itself and in becoming the best you can be through all these experiences. In conclusion, life is not just a series of destinations to be reached, but a journey to be savored, with each step offering new opportunities for growth and fulfillment. Let's embrace the journey, appreciating every moment and every lesson along the way. This perspective not only enriches our lives, but also aligns us with God's purpose and plan for us. Remember, the beauty of life lies in the journey itself.